Hello everybody and welcome to PMGT1030 Strategy and Scope. This is a great lesson. Really we're going to focus heavily on strategy, a little bit on scope. We're going to have other lessons on scope in, for example, a requirements course later on. But strategy is all too often forgotten, and it's critical, it's essential to being a great project manager. So take notes each week on the key concepts, and then what I ask you to do is begin to integrate them into your work every week, into the 2-page documents that you write up and submit based on the case studies week by week. Build on that. Don't just focus on that week's lessons when you write up your document. Begin to integrate all of the lessons and build on them week after week. If you do that, then the final paper is easy because you're integrating all the key concepts easily and tying them to your project. I have to have a dead guy quote, so here you go. Winston Churchill, my dead guy in this case, great person, once said, "However beautiful a strategy, you should occasionally look at the results. For in those results, it will tell you how you handled the details." This is exactly the essence of project management. Tying strategy to projects and getting results. Now, during this class, we'll look at successful companies and some that are no longer successful. I think we can learn a lot by doing that. We'll also look at various approaches to strategy that should be addressed in a great business case. That's the document that launches your project from the C-suite. What do I mean by C-suite? Anybody in the executive level staff. CEO, CIO, COO, that's Chief Operations Officer, CFO, Chief Financial Officer. Microsoft has a CTO, Chief Technology Officer, etc., etc. That's the C-suite, so anybody in there. And that document, the business case, is meant to accomplish some strategic objective, and it's used to launch your project. I'll give you a couple of quick examples of the type of things that you'd be looking for. Sometimes we live in a predictable environment. So consider Coca-Cola, established in 1892, and golly, for 100 and I'm doing public math here, so help me, 140 years. They have been one of the world's largest soft drink companies, right? And they've had a strategy that has been highly stable. It's really been about, even back in the 1890s, about franchise distribution, right? Of course, Coca-Cola's strategy is subject to unforeseen changes. All strategy is. For example, the emergence of some new competitors and changes in the market conditions. For example, reaction against sugar drinks now for diet, etc. Coca-Cola's one of the first entrants into the diet market was a product called Fresca, not a Coca-Cola product. And not long after that, Diet Coke makes its way onto the scene. So, but beyond the market conditions, however, the medium term sometimes see the environment as more stable than most other firms, right, in general. As a result, Coca-Cola should be able to, plan its investments, its new product launches, which means projects, its marketing campaigns as a result of your projects, into the medium of its stable environment. At the same time, Coke needs to retain flexibility, right? Not become brittle, to respond quickly to emerging threats and opportunities. When you think of it at Coke, you don't normally, nor do I, think of emerging threats and opportunities. That every project manager thinks of. A risk is an uncertainty, and it can have, by definition, you'll learn in later courses, a risk is a threat, which is how we normally see risks, or an opportunity. And an opportunity, okay? For example, in May 2013, the company announced a $200 million investment in Myanmar over 5 years. It sees that as an opportunity. Now consider by contrast Uber. Uber operates in a highly uncertain, unstable environment, unpredictable environment. When it was first launched in San Francisco back in 2011, its business model was unproven and its potential to generate revenues uncertain. By the end of 2015, it was operating in 58 countries, however, and over 300 cities. It has had to adapt its strategy, often very quickly, both to competition globally from Lyft and locally by a host of nationally based rideshare companies. And the regulatory differences and legal challenges vary throughout. So in adapting to this complex, changing regulatory environment, it has introduced a number of variants to its core, or variants, if you're French, you might enjoy that, to its core product: Uber X, Uber Pool, Uber Pop, there's Uber Fresh, Uber Rush, Uber Essentials, Uber Chopper. I think the list goes on and on. Uber Delivery. Because Uber's capital investments are small, its drivers are self-employed and they provide their own cars, right? It has limited need for long-term strategic planning. In new markets, it can set up and exit in a short time with small sunk costs. Still, despite all these differences, there are similarities between Coke and Uber. Both companies depend on making their offerings known to the consumers and readily available anywhere within their marketing areas. Both are also highly sensitive to the regulatory environment in which they operate. So we're going to look in this course for similarities as well as the dissimilarities to help understand risk and to drive a great business case that helps launch your project. So I wish that was really all there was to it. I wish it was, but strategy is complex, and we will go over various other concepts such as these two key questions. Where are we competing and how are we competing? I could give you a Lady Gaga example. I think I have it in a slide in one of the later courses, so I'll save that for now. But those are the kind of questions you'll want to ask, because in that effort will drive decisions and refinement of your project. So as you go through this course, again, I just want to remind you, please note the key topics. They all work towards making a great business case. By the way, the final paper is your opportunity to write a business case. I'll provide the scenario and the background that goes with it, and you will build a great business case that clearly ties the company's strategy to the outcome of strategy, something we call projects. I'll just give you a quick example. At Charter Communications, I work in IT security primarily. Over the past few years, the company's strategy for employees is to ensure a safe and secure electronic working environment. We are a communications company, by the way, and to be effective, we must have solid, consistent, productive, speed-driven communications, uninterrupted. And so to improve productivity and efficiency and a safe and secure electronic working environment, we've implemented any number of projects that meet the corporate strategy. We've implemented web filtering, antivirus, data loss prevention, file integrity management, wireless intrusion protection, and much, much more. By understanding the company strategy and the key stakeholders, I am able to drive projects to success on time, cost, and scope. In fact, boop, boop, I've never had a project not finish on time, cost, or scope that meets the stakeholders' needs and desires and objectives. So please take this class seriously, and you will do the same. You will have on-time projects because you will be that more holistic inclusive project manager. You will understand the C-suite above you and be able to translate that into decisions in your project and to your team members and others, peers and subordinates alike. So enjoy the class. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We look at a lot of great companies, tying their strategies to success. We will look at Starbucks. We will look at Kodak. Some of you may not recall that. We will look at General Dynamics, I think, and others. I continue to evolve them to keep them updated with some great companies that what worked for them and why. Take those salient points, continue to build on them throughout the course, and I think you'll find this interesting as well as challenging and useful. Okay, so to be great or to be average, that's the question. Avoid the gap that most project managers have. Enjoy the course, delve into it, and this class will help you become one of the greats. I guarantee it. That's a Molnar guarantee. Okay. And you can, cash that in wherever they take Molnar bucks. All right. So I look forward to seeing you online. Thanks for being part of it, and thanks for your time today.